Murphy from Bryant Park Toastmasters, and Jim will step out. Please welcome up Jan Nolte.
I thought of how terrific it is that people like Anthony Smith volunteer to leave the safe confines of Bryant Park Toastmasters, where we really are a community, and there's even a sense of family, and comes and shares the skills that he's acquired after only 5 speeches with relative strangers. And I think that it's that kind of volunteerism and commitment that makes Toastmasters so wonderful, and that makes this a particularly special community. I really value that contribution on Anthony's part. I appreciate his courage so that we can learn more. I thought he looked great. Now I know Anthony. I mean, he always looks pretty great. And Anthony's always warm, and he's always embracing of the room. But tonight I know that because he was in front of strangers, he put on a special suit and he had a little pocket thing going on. And you know, what I know is that establishes some credibility. And I immediately look at him and think, oh, he prepped. Maybe this guy knows something about preparation. Before I even knew what he was going to be talking about, he established his credibility. Anthony was, of course, speaking to us about his experience in the duathlon here in New York, and I love the way he set up the before and the after for us. Anthony is a good writer. He uses great language. He uses words that are simple for us to hear, like gigantic, but have a big impact. He used the word gigantic in this speech, and I'm going to refer back to that in a second, because it's powerful words that give him a lot to work with. He came up with great metaphors. I loved the whole business around the holidays of stuffing at Thanksgiving and the whatever it was, the abundance of Christmas that he carried over the finish line, you know, in the first duathlon. And then his comparison in the second duathlon, we hear his energy increase, and we start to feel his purpose and his moving forward. This is where I think he really started to meet the criteria of the speech. This is where we really started to see vocal variety in play, which is, of course, the point of the speech number 6. I think he started perhaps to feel a little bit relieved because the pain of giving a speech in front of strangers was he was seeing that finish line, perhaps. But also, I think it was a measured choice on his part to get the momentum of that race going and the thrill of the victory, and so that was reflected in his voice. Some places where I think Anthony can make some improvements are particularly in the way he uses his voice. He referred to the grandmother who was hopping and puffing her way across the finish line. That would be an example of vocal variety. He had another words he used, like I love. He used the word love first. Love is a word we can lean into. Love, gigantic. He tends to point to make his emphasis with his hand, and I would encourage him in the next speech to take that emphasis from his hand and move it into his voice. If Anthony wants to speak to me about it, I can show him some exercises that can help with that, and he could, or talk to other Toastmasters who've also battled this. All in all, his great script writing gives him the foundation for great vocal variety, and I encourage him to not give that up now that he's done this speech, but to take that challenge and bring it into 7, 8, 9, and 10. Thank you.